What's going on, everyone? This is Lucas Ross Sports, and Lucas Ross, your commentator. We continue our 2022 college football predictions. The Clemson Tigers are up next. We're going to give you an official record for this team, give you my thoughts on this team, and we will give you an official schedule look at 2022 for this team, and we will go from there. But before we do that, let's look back at 2021 for this Clemson team. In 2021, the Clemson Tigers went 10-3. Not a really good year last year, let's be honest. They missed the college football playoff, lost a lot of close games. DJ Ogale was not really that consistent at quarterback, let's be honest, but I think he'll be better this year. Clemson might be better than most people might say this year. I know their offense, should be really good. Defensively, they do have a lot of question marks, but still have everyone coming back on that defensive side of the ball. They should be really good on both sides of the ball this year. Overall, they do return really good amount of production. You see the offensive defensive rankings last year for this Clemson team. 82nd offense in the country. Not a really good offense last year, let's be honest, but that's something to improve on this year for this Clemson team. And then second in defense. This defense was really good last year. They were first in the ACC, of course, and now they're really looking to be better on defense as well, but how good will they be? That's the question. I mean, will they redeem themselves after a 10-3 season? They went to a bowl game still. They went to a bowl game. That was the good news, but just missed out on the college football playoff. 26.3 points a game last year, and then opponents 14.8 points given up. So the Clemson defense was really strong last year. How good will they be this year, though? That is the question. And here is the look at the 2022 schedule for Clemson. You see that opening game on September 5th. This one is at Atlanta. This game is on a Monday night. Georgia Tech. That opening game against Georgia Tech on Monday night at Atlanta. Pretty interesting game here. Georgia Tech doesn't really return that amount of production here, but it's not going to be a game I think Georgia Tech will, compete. I think Clemson will get off to a great start on the year, and they will start out with a win. I think DJ Ogale will maybe get off to a good start on the season. I think he'll redeem himself, and I think Clemson will win this game fairly easily. Maybe not by a blowout, but they'll take care of business. I think Georgia Tech's a little bit down this year. I know they, have, a lot of question marks this season as well. I think Georgia Tech, though, really won't compete. It's home field advantage for them, but just not enough to get the win. And then Clemson takes care of business against Furman, and then Louisiana Tech on September 17th. Louisiana Tech's an interesting one, but Louisiana Tech does lose a lot, quite a bit of production from last year's team. And then there's that game against Wake Forest on the road. This one, really interesting matchup here. Wake Forest was a great team last year. I think they'll be better. I think they'll be a great team again this year, but not as good as last year, I think. It's going to depend on what Wake Forest is going to look like. But Clemson, I think, is much better, has a much better offense than Wake Forest, and they also have the returning production percentage. And this one is on the road. It's a potential upset, but I think Clemson will win. I think they'll walk out of here with a win over Wake Forest. Maybe by 2 touchdowns. Maybe they'll pull away in the second half. You never know. Wake Forest could really hang around in this game a little bit. I think it's going to be Clemson that will walk away on the road against Wake Forest and get the win. And then there's that game against NC State. This one is a home game, but it's not going to be an easy game. Let me be assure you guys, this is not going to be an easy game for Clemson. This could be their toughest game, maybe one out of the 2 toughest games of the year for Clemson. This could be one of the toughest games of the year. I know it's a home game for Clemson, but NC State's going to be a really good team this year. They have a lot coming back on both sides of the ball, and they're going to be really good. They're going to be really red hot for this one. Clemson's looking for revenge in this game as well. Last year, NC State was able to defeat Clemson in overtime. NC State, though, they're going to be an underdog, I bet, in this game, but I think it's a 50-50 game. It goes back and forth. At the end of the day, though, with Clemson being at home, I think they get revenge in this game, and I'm going to pick the Clemson Tigers to win. I think it won't be a blowout. I don't think it will be a, type of blowout for Clemson. It's going to be a close game. It's going to go back and forth. Maybe a defensive battle. Clemson and NC State have had some. NC State has really, gotten close with Clemson over the years, and there's a possible chance that they can pull off an upset again. But this one being at home, I have to go with Clemson. I think they're going to pull off the win here. by maybe by 3 points, maybe a field goal. It could go into overtime once again, but you just never know. It could be an upset. Next game is against Boston College. Back-to-back road games here. Boston College first, though. Boston College is a team that, everybody's wondering if they're going to be good this year. Not really high on this team as I was of them last year. I mean, who knows what Boston College will look like. I mean, they're probably going to be young on offense as well. They're going to be young on defense. They have a lot of question marks, but they do return their quarterback. They return, their quarterback. He's a winning quarterback, but it's probably not going to be enough. I think Clemson will go on the road, after, getting through NC State. They will come in with motivation, and they will beat Boston College on the road. Next game is against Florida State on the road. Florida State's going to be a really interesting team this year. People have said that Florida State might be a contender in the ACC Atlantic Division. The question is, how good will their offense be? The defensive line is going to be really good. The defense overall is going to be really good on that side of the ball for Florida State. This is an interesting game. I think this is the second toughest game on the schedule for Clemson out of the, two that I've talked about. NC State was tough, but here's Florida State. Florida State has a lot coming back this year. They have a ton of production coming back. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think Florida State will hang around all game in this one, but it won't be enough for an upset. I think Florida State will come up short. I had to go back and forth on this game as well. I think Clemson, though, their offense gives them the advantage, and I think it will be all Clemson probably in the fourth quarter. Florida State will probably run out of gas, but I think Florida State will hang around for a little while, and then that's it. Clemson will win this one. It's on the road. It's going to be a really tough place to play, but enough to get the win. Next game is against Syracuse at home. They get a home game after this one. Syracuse is going to be a really interesting team. We know Syracuse has been getting close to Clemson in the last few years as well. Syracuse, they don't really have a lot of question marks. They're going to be really good this year. I could see this team maybe being a contender in the Atlantic Division as well, but maybe not quite enough. Maybe they're in that, underdog category as well. Syracuse, though, they will be close probably in the first few minutes, and then I think Clemson will pull away. It's a home game, and I think it's going to be all Clemson in this one. And then there's that there's that road game against Notre Dame on the road, November the 5th. Tough game to play here, tough place to play. This could be the third toughest game on the schedule as well for Clemson. Notre Dame has a lot of question marks on offense, though. Defensively, they're going to be really good, but how good will this Notre Dame team be? They have a new head coach. They have a new staff as well. I mean, how good will this Notre Dame team be? But I think Clemson, with the production percentage there for them, and I think they have a lot coming back as well. Clemson, I think, is going to just go on the road and defeat Notre Dame. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though. I think it will be a first-half performance, and then it will just be all Clemson in that second half. And then there's that game against Louisville on November 12th. This is a really interesting game as well. Louisville has a lot coming back on offense this year. Defensively, they're going to be really good. I mean, not quite, good maybe, but, they're going to really hang around with Clemson in this game. Maybe the first half, but I think it's going to be all Clemson, like I said, in the second half. I think Clemson will pull away in the second half a lot this year. I think they have a chance to redeem themselves after all these losses last year. But they will defeat Louisville. I think it's not going to be a blowout, but I think second half, I think Clemson will step up. I think the defense will be better by this time as well. When they get into the month of October and November, it's time to see what these teams are like. So I think Clemson will defeat Louisville in that game. Miami on November 19th. Miami's a team that really has a lot of question marks, but they are still going to be really good. Really, they have a chance to maybe win the Coastal Division this year. But this is a Coastal Division game, so if Clemson would have lost this game, it's not really a big deal. But they got to win this game because if you want to make the college football playoff, it's really possible. But I think Clemson, with it being at home, I think they will stay undefeated and defeat Miami. I think this game probably comes down to the first half, and then second half, like I said, Clemson will pull away, and I think they will win this one. And there's that final game against South Carolina at home. South Carolina going to be a really interesting team this year. We know what they did last year. They were one of the best finishing teams in the country last year. South Carolina could hang around in all game on this one. I have to say, though, with it being at home, I don't really see South Carolina competing in maybe the second half. I think with this one being at home, Clemson will be fired up in this one, and I think Clemson will come out on top. Not by a lot, though. I think it's probably a 2-touchdown type game. But, I mean, South Carolina will get close, maybe in the first half. But South Carolina's really doing good right now. I think they have a chance to maybe be a really good team this year in the SEC. And the total record for Clemson and the prediction comes out to be 12-0. I think Clemson will redeem themselves, make the college football playoff this year. I mean, there's a lot of redemption here for this Clemson team. Will they win 12 games? They could possibly lose 2 games. NC State and Florida State, those are potential upsets. Notre Dame's a potential upset. I mean, I could see it happening a little bit. But, Clemson, I feel confident in them that it will go 12-0 this year. And that's my prediction on the Clemson Tigers. Let me know what you guys think about this Clemson team down in the comments below. What do you think their record will be? And give me your thoughts on this team. And stay tuned here. We will be doing more predictions throughout the week. Stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.